the three main areas you want to target if you are trying to get a knockout. Well, the first area would be the jawline. All right, that's probably a traditional sort of knockout area. That's where a lot of boxers tend to find their knockouts. Another area which boxers tend to find their knockouts from as well is behind the ear, from when they're doing a hook punch. And another one which a lot of people, I think, sort of misjudge a little bit is actually underneath the chin. Now, the reason why underneath the chin is actually quite an effective one is because when you hit the jaw into the skull, it vibrates the whole skull, therefore ending up in a knockout. So, techniques. What would you recommend is a good starting technique to get a knockout on a particular...
Palm heel strike.
Okay.
Easily.
Right, so palm heel strike. So where would you target a palm heel strike?
A palm heel strike, I'd say it'd be bloody ideal, either under the chin or just the side of the jaw.
Do it off this side so the camera can see?
So either side of the jaw there like that, or just under the chin like an uppercut.
The next technique that we could also target the same area, so under the chin, jawline, would be an elbow. Yeah, so Sam was saying about sort of palm heel strikes like this. Well, if you stand a little bit closer, elbow like this. We've done elbows before in self-defense guard and how to use self-defense guard from, how to use elbows from the self-defense guard rather. And yeah, so we might as well. So from here, bang, or there, like that. So obviously off the front hand. So, you know, because in the self-defense guard, we would sort of go like that, all right? Well, that's if you want to sort of do a bit of a neutral strike, which will hurt and make your opponent sort of think twice.
It's more of a sort of push away.
Yeah, it's still effective, still hurts. But if you want to get a knockout, oosh, yeah, that's not going to be very nice.
Stealing damage.
Well, I mean, it also you can actually grab the head as well. So you know in the elbows video that we did, so we sort of had our hands out like this, and then we come in like that, right? That's one, right? So from here on the top of the nose, you wouldn't get a knockout necessarily, but it'll friggin' hurt. But from here, you can actually grab the head before you do an elbow.
that's just maximising on it. You just causing collision there. That's not a good time for them. Really.
No, it's not very good at all. But again, another effective way to get a knockout, again along the jawline or underneath the chin. Right, so we got
jaw, chin.
We got jaw, chin. Let's behind the ear. I suppose the palm heel strike as well.
So I'd say more of sort of like a cupped hand sort of power slap. Maybe sort of with your hand there.
Yeah.
Just because it's it's not necessarily a small target, but it's quite it's a sort of awkward one to get.
Yeah. And with the power slap as well, especially like Sam was saying, if you can use sort of the bottom part of your hand as well, you can actually almost kill two birds with one stone kind of thing, where you're hitting the jawline and the back of the ear as well.
Yeah, because obviously you get along like that.
Yeah, so if you demonstrate for the camera, so
it's because you've got all that length there and you get across there, it covers the whole area. Even like a slight little tap like that.
Yeah, it's not. Do it to yourself at home. Just do that.
Just a slight tap on the side of your jaw, and you will feel your whole jaw just shifts just the slightest bit, and you can imagine that at full force. That is just it's not bad time, really.
Not very nice. And to be honest, guys, you can actually do most of these techniques to yourself and actually feel a small impact. Now, if just doing that to yourself, that's not very nice.
No,
That'll give me a headache. If I do that 10 times to myself, it gives me a headache.
It takes the slightest bit of imagination to know what that would do to someone full throttle. That is gonna. Oof.
Exactly. Right, so that's the one behind the ear. What else can we do behind the ear? Oh yeah, hook punch. Okay. Now, hook punches are something more towards sort of boxing and things like that, and that's fair enough. And we don't really recommend doing punches because
in general, just
you could break your hands. Yeah. But however, this is a knockout video, so it could be in competition fighting.
You could be in a fight. It doesn't.
Could be
sanctioned, completely legal. This isn't always straight.
So, for example, if you're wearing sort of MMA gloves or maybe wearing boxing gloves, then this could be quite a great way to knock someone out. Now, Mike Tyson was very, very famous for this. So he would go in with the body shot and then bang, right behind the ear or along the jawline. 1, 2, then like that. A lot of the time you get knockouts that way. How many of his fights has he won by knockout?
Most of them.
It's like I think it's like 60 to 75% of his fights are from knockouts.
But yeah, if you do watch his fights, you see a lot of time he does use that specific technique of body, then jaw or whatever, just because it works.
The hook punch is a very, very devastating weapon if you know how to use it.
Well, I mean, if you get the technique down, the whole rotation of your body, through your hips, through your arm, everything, that is.
Well, Mike Tyson's a big guy.
Well, yeah,
he's a big guy, so he's got a lot of muscle that he can use to actually sort of muster to use on a punch, use with a punch like that. But you don't need to be his size to throw a really good hook punch. Believe me, it's all about sort of targeting, like what we're saying, like jawline, things like that.
Targeting and technique.
Targeting, technique, and precision, timing. So we've gone through palm heel strikes, gone through elbows, we've gone through power slap. Okay, now we didn't really go a lot into detail about power slaps, so if we just go through a little bit more. So Sam was saying about sort of the bottom of the hand as well. Now a power slap, the reason why it's called a power slap is you're not just like slapping like that, right? Okay, you're not bitch slapping, right? But what you are doing is that you're cupping your hand. Yeah, so you're trying to do this with your hand, almost like forming a sickle shape. Now if you do actually get behind the ear, right, or around the jawline, then actually also what you're targeting is the ear. That's probably the best place to target is the ear, bang, like that. So you might get a knockout, but if you don't get a knockout, you burst your opponent's eardrum. For sure, right? It really hurts, not very nice. At worst, they're going to be, or well, I don't know, is it worse at best? I don't know. They're going to be disorientated either way. Okay, so if you don't get a knockout, they're going to be disorientated, they're going to be in pain. So it's not going to be a very nice experience for them regardless. So a power slap, again, very good sort of technique to use if you're trying to get a knockout, but added benefits as well of probably bursting eardrums and disorientation. So very good. You were going to say, what were you going to say?
I was going to say we didn't really touch on the hammer fist, but at the same time it falls in the sort of same category as power slaps because obviously you're using the same part of your hand there.
So how would you do a hammer fist strike, Sam? How would you do it?
Well, it's sort of like any other, isn't it? You want to make sure you've got the right range for it and you're close or whatever, and front hand's probably the best one for it just because it's closer and you want to throw it. It's very similar, isn't it, just to a power slap.
It's like having a club on the end of your hand, like that, a club. Right? It's, again, a really devastating technique if you can get it right. Now, as Sam was saying, you want to try and be in close when you do it. You don't really want to be out here like that.
Yes.
That's unlike a baseball bat where all the power is at the end here. In an arm, your elbow is sort of like a joint, and that will take out quite a lot of the impact, that could potentially, all the power that you could actually have.
If your arm is extended like that and you land it, that will do bad things for your shoulder. Whereas if your arm's bent like that, it's a bit more.
It's rigid, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
It's rigid. It's stronger.
Well, yeah,
it's just a stronger structure. And that's, again, a lot of these knockout techniques, it's all about the structure of your body as well. If you're not doing them quite right, then, you could actually get yourself hurt, like we've already mentioned. So trying to stay rigid, trying to stay in close with the majority of these techniques as well is probably a really good way of maintaining, I suppose, good posture. Also, it's a good way of being able to sort of keep your guard up as well. I mean, if you're standing all the way out here, whatever, you're not really going to have much of a guard, whereas if you're standing here, you can throw hook punches, you can throw elbows, while still be able to maintain sort of a pretty good guard. So hammer fist strikes. Now hammer fist, you can target all sorts of places of the area of the head. I mean, of course, we're targeting the main areas, jawline, behind the ear.
You know what we haven't mentioned yet?
What's that?
Temple.
Well, the temple is another area where it's quite funny because that's where the jaw sort of connects to your head. So
that's where the shot goes,
That's it, and you actually tend to find as well that it's actually the shaking of the front part of the head, the frontal lobes here, that actually get the knockout if you hit the temple. But if you're lucky, you actually hit underneath, just underneath the temple there. And that's, again, jarring the jaw, jarring the head. The jaw creates vibrations. That's the thing. The skull is very, very structured.
It moves very easily as well.
That's it. That's the difference. The skull doesn't move a lot. The jaw moves an awful lot. So if you hit the jaw as hard as you can, then actually you'll find that vibration will go into the brain. That's what gets knockouts. But the temple and behind the ear are some of the weaker points of the skull, which is why you probably find.
I'd probably say as well that a hammer fist is probably ideal for the temple, just because it's pretty much just taking a hammer to the side of the head.
That's it.
If it's done properly.
Yeah, it's not very nice. No. So Sam was saying temple, okay, jawline, behind the ear, any of those places are great. Also, top of the nose.
Oh.
Bang! Not going to get a knockout, but it's not very nice. And to be honest, if you are in a self-defense situation, something like that, and you don't want to knock out your opponent necessarily, you just want to get away.
You might make their eyes water, be a bit distracted. That's a great chance for you just
Precisely.
To get out of it.
Just like the power slap, disorientation, that's what it will do. It'll make the eyes water, whatever, doesn't matter.
It's like you're just thinking of how many ways can you distract them, isn't it? Well, so you can either get something else in or you can get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I think those are all of our techniques for today, I think. Yeah. So we've gone through quite a lot of things there for you. So we've gone through the areas of the head which you should target when you're trying to get a knockout, and certain techniques which you could do, which are probably going to be the most effective at knocking somebody out. I think that probably sums it up for this video today, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope it helps you out with your training, self-defense, sort of practice, and sort of martial arts practice in general. Make sure you like and subscribe. And for me and Sam, we'll see you in the next one.